Hey, good day, good afternoon, and wherever you are in the world. My name is Marcel Hyde, channel Marcel Mindset.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I want to remind you guys, please hit that subscribe button below, hit that notification bell, because these are episodes that you don't want to miss out on. For those of you out there, if you're lacking in faith, you're lacking in hope, God is there for you. God is willing to guide you and lead you and direct you. Hello, world, and welcome to another episode of Marcel Mindset TV. Today on the show, we got a very special guest here with me. I have my buddy Michael. So I'd like to start off by saying how I met Michael. And this is a story that you're gonna wanna listen to because it's gonna inspire you and help you start on your journey. So I was walking down I was walking down Young, and I had my earpods in, I was in my own world, and I just saw this individual on the street just talking to people, and he had his camera in his hand. And he stopped me, and I believe he was asking for donations to buy a camera. And that just showed me the hunger that this man had, that he had to start off on the streets to build his business, his photography business that he has going on today. And from that, I didn't message him at first, but a few months went by and I started my channel and my business, and I needed a photographer. So the picture of me with my hand on my head right there, which is my cover photo, and I used that photo for the majority of my platforms, was done by Michael, because 3 months later, I needed a photographer, and I said to myself, the most hungry photographer out there was Michael, because he was on the street just hustling to try and find money to pay for himself for a camera. So I'd like to introduce to the show, Michael.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate you inviting me and actually stopping for me that day. Because if not, we wouldn't have this conversation. Yeah. So that's great. Yeah, man, I'm glad. Awesome. I'm very happy.
Exactly. Yeah. So don't just brush people off if you see them on the street, because that can lead to a lifelong relationship. And me and Michael have built a relationship. He is now my photographer, and he's doing his own thing. So for our audience out there, who is Michael Jason?
Who's Michael? Michael is just so I thought about this question. It's very, very tough for me to think about who I'm really. Yeah. And Michael is just a 27-year-old. I think we should just play pool.
Yeah, pool, man.
So I think I'm just a 27-year-old student who came into Canada 5 years ago. And I'm a photographer based in Toronto.
Okay.
I've been doing photography for the past 2.5 to 3 years almost. And since then, it has been a great journey. And what I'm really passionate about is capturing moments, and capturing people's emotions.
Exactly.
And that is one of the major reasons why I started photography in general.
Yeah. So, yeah. And when I did the photo shoot with you, you really brought the emotions out of me, and you really made me be present in that moment and discover what my passions were, because you asked me a bunch of questions. And I want to ask you, how did you kind of get into photography, and what type of photography do you do specifically?
Great question. So this was during those pandemic times where I was just sitting on my couch.
Are you solids or?
I'm solids.
Okay.
So sitting on the couch, just playing my PlayStation, getting my stuff done,
Right.
And I really was actually wasting all of my time.
Okay.
And I was back then I was living with my family. So my cousin brother walked up to me and he's like, "Dude, why are you wasting your time?" He had a whole conversation with me.
Right.
And I felt and he is a cinematographer by profession.
Right.
So he just gave me his camera actually. So the camera I use is actually his camera.
Right.
And he gave me his camera and he was like, just go out there, you know, do your thing.
Right.
Just, you like photography. He taught me some stuff. I was very interested to learn photography, but never got the chance. And that was my journey on how I started photography.
Right.
And what kind of photography do I do? I mainly focus on portraits. I do landscapes, but it doesn't get me paid. And I do, you know, boudoir. I do actually everything out there. I do a lot of street photography because I'm versatile that way.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah, that's really good. And you know, if you're looking for Michael's photography services, make sure you guys reach out to him. He's on Instagram. We'll promote that at the end of the show. But we know that photography is extremely competitive. You know, every other door there's a photographer. If you have an iPhone, like Michael had mentioned off camera, you're pretty much a photographer. So everybody tries to be a photographer. Everyone tries to really make it in that industry. So my question to you is, how do you kind of differentiate yourself in such a competitive industry?
Great question. So how I differentiate myself is first of all, the reason why I started doing photography, right? Like, it is, everyone out there is a great photographer. Everyone has a different perspective.
Right.
But as you said, in our shoot together, I was able to bring out your emotions.
Yep.
And something that is different from, I feel, something that I'm unique in my own way is by bringing out people's emotions, capturing those emotions and those moments.
Exactly.
And that's what you know, makes me stand out.
Yep.
But there's a ton of photographers. They're all great, and no one's a bad photographer. Right? Everyone has their own perspective.
Exactly.
And my perspective is just different.
Yep.
I edit my photos a certain way. I do things a certain way, and everyone's got their own style of photography, and I just have my own.
That's right.
And that's what stands out.
Yeah. So everybody has their own little style and how they do it. So, you know, if there's other photographers out there, make sure you guys are supporting them and find the photographer that kind of best suits you and best kind of fits with what you're looking for. So I want to ask you, Michael, sorry, what color you're doing the stripes, right? Or so I'm doing the stripes.
Your stripes.
Trying to multitask here, guys. So I want to ask you, from your experiences of taking photos of people, what have you learned about different people? Because it's intimate, and I want to say when I took those photos, very intimate, it was deep. You know, when I was capturing those photos and I was with you, it was personal. So what have you learned from people from taking photos?
So everyone has a story to tell.
Yep.
Every single person that I've shot, I've probably done around 20 to 30 shoots so far, and every single person has a story to tell.
Yep.
And my job is basically to help them tell their story in my own way and through my medium, right? And that's just how. That's actually one of the major aspects, I feel. And that is something that I've learned.
Yeah, exactly. And
does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. And is there something specifically that maybe one person per se that you really took photos of, and it's just like you learned something so massive from that individual, or that individual had changed your life when you snapped photos of that person?
So, yes, it's actually someone that I'm talking to right now. I told you earlier, but I didn't tell you the whole story.
Right.
Where I remember when we were talking about your podcast and how I was thinking of shooting the podcast for you.
Right.
And I remember going and getting these Rode mics that we got from Downtown Camera.
Yeah.
And I was like, at least probably a few months ago, I was very nervous of spending money.
Right.
I was not a risk taker. I was scared of taking risks because I had a lot of responsibilities. And you told me, and you kind of motivated me there, because I was at the verge of getting a camera, but I was double-minded. I didn't know if I should actually get a camera or not.
Right.
And something that you taught me that day was, you were like, hey, like, money comes and goes. Like, just get it done.
Right.
And once you put in the work, you'll get that money back.
Exactly.
And I remember having that conversation on the street, and I went back home and I told my girlfriend, hey, I heard this from him and he told me this, and it just kind of put in fire into my heart and wanted me to do something.
Yeah.
And from that day onwards, I researched so much on what camera I should get, what I want, and I'm almost there. You know, I've almost achieved that, and I learned that from you.
Yeah.
So Marcel has changed my life, guys, in a way. So you're one of my friends who've actually convinced me to get a camera,
Right.
and convinced me to take that risk.
Yeah.
If not, I would not have, right? So
Exactly. Thank you, and I'm honored to have changed your life in a certain aspect or in a certain way. The message here is to take that risk, take that chance on yourself, bet on yourself. You have nothing to lose, but the whole world or everything to gain, right? You only lose when you don't start or you don't try. So for our audience out there, there might be some photographers who are going to view this video. Clearly they are, right? Because you are a photographer yourself, or someone who has an interest in photography. How do you kind of get started in the photography business?
So it's all about, putting yourself out there. That is the first thing that I did. I had conversations with people, learned what I'm actually doing, and the second thing is just keep creating. Right now, especially in this day and age, with social media, which plays a big role in how your business runs as a photographer.
Yeah.
So what I used to do is carry my camera wherever I go to.
Exactly.
Today I didn't have to bring my camera because we already have one.
Yeah.
But I brought it just so that I can create some content. Right?
Exactly. Yep.
And I keep creating, I keep learning.
Right.
And that is something that is the first step to start off a business. Secondly is I feel is word of mouth.
Right.
Because most of my business that I've earned so far is through word of mouth.
Word of mouth, exactly.
You might tell your friend might tell someone else that, hey, this photographer took good photos of Michael.
Right.
Or of Marcel.
Exactly.
And that makes a big difference when they reach out to me.
Right.
And exactly leads on to my first point is putting yourself out there.
Right.
So once your name is out there, more people recognize you, more people see your work, your style, your perspective, and that makes a big difference.
Right.
And I feel, that is something that will get you started. And it doesn't matter what camera you have, it's about what you do with it.
Yeah, 100%.
It's about how much you learn. And if you don't take that risk, you're not gonna know if it's a failure or not. And you're gonna fail multiple times.
Of course.
Keep trying, right?
It's part of the process of
100%.
failing. Failing is part of the process.
100%.
When you start something, you're just learning, especially if you're new at it. How can you expect to just succeed right away? It takes a lot of time, and Michael's taking that time to go through that process, and a lot of people don't want to go through that process of buying something new and figuring out how to use the camera. So like Michael said, you're gonna fail, but start, even if it's with your phone, start with your phone, and then you can progress to a camera, and then from one camera you go to another camera. So just start somewhere. All right.
Exactly.
So this is Marcel Mindset TV, and I just love mindset. I'm a passionate person about mindset, because if you don't have a growth mindset, if you don't have the right mindset, you're not really gonna start anything. You're just gonna either think about it with your friends, think about it with yourself, or talk about it with your friends, or just always be dreaming but no action. So my question to you is, what does mindset mean to you, and how do you keep such a strong positive mindset and a growth mindset, Michael?
I think it's your shot, by the way. And my mindset is all about, especially for the past few years, it's been about learning. And for 2023, it's about growth and risk. Take that risk, because you got to risk it for the biscuit, right?
Yep.
You got to put yourself out there.
Yep.
And I learned for the past 2 years on more about photography, different styles of photography. Tried a bunch of stuff which got me to where I am right now.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I don't think my success ends here.
Yep.
There's more to photography. There's more to video. I'm learning currently on how to take video, how to edit videos, how to color grade, and that is my mindset at this point. At the same time, you always have to reinvent, keep learning, right? And that's what life is.
Keep learning, reinvent.
That's my mindset.
I love that. Take the risk. All right, like Michael was saying, don't be afraid to take the risk on yourself. You just never know what can happen when you take that risk. All right. So, obviously you've been on a journey. You came from India, right?
Yep.
Now you're here in Canada, Toronto. So you've been on a journey, right? You've, had a lot of adversity. You learned a lot about yourself. So, what are some things that? Thank you. What are some things that you have learned on your life journey that you think could help our audience based on your experiences?
Something that I learned in terms of my experiences, this is a very tough question. Makes me a bit emotional at times, because my life has been great so far, but it is. There's a lot of ups and downs. life takes you to a lot of places where you keep, what do you say? Sorry, I'm kind of choking up here, but
okay, man.
but it has been a hard journey. But at the same time, there's always light out there on the other end of the tunnel. You keep learning, you keep progressing, and there's always, whatever's meant for you will always happen, right?
Exactly. It's true.
So far, I'm a true believer of that, because there have been instances in my life, for example, meeting you. Right?
Happened for a reason.
Happened for a reason. Whatever happens always happens for a reason.
100%.
And you just have to be patient and wait for that moment. But at the same time, being patient, you got to keep trying. You got to do your part. And I believe in that power. That it always happens, or things would just follow through you. I think I'm a huge believer in God. And I believe that there is this higher power,
of course,
that would, that would lead things to you. Right? If I had not met you, I would not be able to do a shoot for you or be recording this video right now.
Here today.
And it made a big difference in my life. Right? I was able to buy a camera because of the conversation that we had. And that's all part of my journey.
Exactly.
So
well, that's inspirational. You know what? Sometimes you meet people in your life for a reason. Whether that person may be positive, whether that person be negative. If it's negative, maybe you learn something. If it's positive, you learn something as well too. So be open-minded out here. It's still my turn, eh? I've been knocking.
I thought you stopped. My bad.
Hey, if you guys been watching the game, I was off my game for a minute, but now I'm back in the game. All right.
Oh, you're still winning.
Yeah, man. It takes focus. I'm not a pool player. I'm a podcaster. I'm a content creator. But we're versatile. But like you were saying, you meet people for a reason, right? And a lot of times when you meet people, they teach you these lessons, right? And there's so many people I've met in my life, and I just want to say you're a great person. You're always positive. When I was with Michael, he's passionate about what he does. You always want someone who's passionate about what they're doing, because they're going to do the best work possible. I remember when I did a shoot with Michael, the next day I had my photos. I expected it to be there in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You know what? It wasn't even the next day. It was like 2 a.m. You sent me the photo package. So do you want to work with someone who's lackadaisical or slow to get back to you? Or do you want to work with someone who is passionate about what they do, who gets it done right away, is hungry for another shoot? He was messaging me again for another shoot, just because I know he wants to build his skills in his craft. So you guys gotta want to reach out to Michael to get some photography work done. And I got a lot of respect for this man here, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. He's being modest and very humble. He's actually in a few magazines too. You didn't mention that. Tell him about the magazines, man.
So that was part of my journey, where I did a shoot. We call it TFPs in Toronto. This time for photos. So I meet models, do shoots. I shot, and I did a shoot with a model named Fatima, and it was probably one of the best shoots I've done so far. And one fine morning, the model messaged me saying, "Hey, we got published on a magazine," and I couldn't believe it myself. I've never, I post on Instagram, I send it to family or whatnot, and I was pretty stoked to be published.
Nice.
And to see your name on the front page, saying as a photographer, and I just started 2 years ago. That was just great motivation for me, right?
Exactly.
And I'm glad to have got that space and that opportunity to be out there, put myself out there.
That's very good, And you know what? That's just the beginning of something massive. We see 100%. Something massive for you in the future.
100%.
This is just the beginning. This is the tidbit, is what they would say. Something very small to something really big that's going to happen in your future. Because I know how committed you are, and just how passionate. Off camera, we just talk about photography and how you can get better. He even helped me with my camera when he got here. It's just his nature, right? That's what he loves to do.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. And we live in this generation right now. We have Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We have all these social media platforms, right?
Yep.
And there's a kid, maybe he's in high school, right? And his parents are saying to him, make sure you go to school to be a doctor, lawyer, dentist, because that's the only way you're going to make it. But this kid's like, I am super passionate about photography. you know, and he could probably make the same as a photographer if he really sticks to his craft and really is committed and focused, as opposed to going to school and being a doctor. So what would you say to that kid whose parents are saying to him, the only way you're going to make it is if you be a doctor, a lawyer, or a dentist? But he says, I want to be a content creator or a photographer. What would you say to that kid? Because his parents are saying to him, that's what we want you to be, but we're going to allow you to choose. What would you say to him?
So I would like to start by saying a bit of a story of mine.
Yep.
When I was a kid, almost a high school, I had a similar situation.
Right.
In my life. I was studying in the Middle East and a bit of a conservative family.
Yep.
And my dad, I wanted to be a chef.
Yep.
So photography is something which came recently.
Right.
I wanted to be a chef because I love food. I love cooking.
Right.
That was something that I'm really passionate. I'm still passionate about it.
Exactly.
And I told my parents I want to be a chef. I want to go study about that.
Right.
And they explained to me and they painted a picture saying it is it's not expensive, but you don't have a work-life balance. It is not something that you studied for and all that kind of stuff, right? And they were like, you should do something in sales or marketing or HR or something like that. And that's what I ended up doing. But at the same time, I still was able to follow that passion.
Right.
And no one told me, you know, hey, you should have done this better, or maybe you should have convinced your parents. So something that I would say to that kid is that buy some time. You know, convince your parents to be like, hey, like give me a year or two to pursue my passion. If I still don't get it, then we can revisit or see what is best for me for my career.
Exactly.
And you know, and show them what your work is. Right.
Exactly.
No one believed that I would be a photographer today because they never liked my content. I didn't like my content in the beginning. And now I'm published. I've got a ton of content. I have really good photos. And you know, people invite me to stuff just to take pictures or whatnot. And that's because of the risk that I took at that point, right? And my family appreciates that. And they are like, oh, he's doing photography. He got published. They boast about it now.
Wow.
And that is a big thing, right? So buying time and convincing your parents that, hey, you know, you got to believe in me.
Exactly.
And worst case scenario, if he still doesn't become a good photographer, at least he will have that passion.
Right. The passion is there. I like that advice.
That's something that I would.
That's powerful, because we have a lot of kids right now, or high school individuals or young adults, you could say, and they're just really passionate about the content creation, and their parents are like forcing them or telling them go to school, right? And I'm going to be a parent one day, so, and I know my kid's going to be watching this in the future, so I'm not saying that you're not going to go to university, but if you're going to go there, right, or if you don't want to go there, you're going to have to be working 7 days a week on whatever your passion is. If it's 100%. Content creation, then you better be in the library studying. You better be shooting videos. You better 100%. Be trying to find out how to get better. But if I see you not continuously working on whatever your passion is, and this is what you say you want to do or be, then I can't support you on that dream or that vision. So if you're a kid out there, my advice would be, to add on to what Michael said, was if you want to be a content creator, you want to be a photographer, make sure you're showing your parents that this is what you want to do for your life, and you're doing it all the time. Yeah. When they see you, you have a camera in your hand. When they see you, you're recording. When they see you, you're editing videos. You know, you have to show them that, because if you don't show them that, then they're not going to believe that this is what you really want to do.
Exactly. Yeah. You know? And like back in the day, if you would have said, hey, like you have 2 million followers on Instagram or on YouTube, no one would have believed you or given you that much importance. But now, hey, they're millionaires, right? Yeah, they're making a ton of money out there. They're getting a name for themselves. They're creating content, making a difference. And that's, the world is evolving, right? So.
Right, 100%. The world's evolving, and people are making millions, like Michael just said, creating content or dual photography. Exactly. So if you have a passion for it, make sure you have a passion, because that's key. Go after it. 100%. So thank you for that advice, Michael. To our high school viewers on the show, or even our college viewers on the show that are on the fence of dropping out of school, you know, but if you're in school or you're in a job, make sure you're working on your content and you're still trying to create. All right? So, you know, we're kind of wrapping up the interview, and I just want to say this has been a good interview. I don't know if you guys are watching, but I'm kicking your butt in this game.
I know. Don't worry, it's not done yet.
It's not done yet. It's not finished till it's finished, not over till it's over. All right, so I want to ask you, when you hear some of these words, what comes to your mind? Dreams.
This part of the interview is the toughest. So something that comes to my mind was it was my dream to buy my own camera.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of time.
Right.
But I'm almost there.
Exactly.
So that has been my dream for a while now.
Good.
Yeah.
Positive. Freedom.
Freedom, first thing which comes to my mind is that freedom has both positive and negative to it.
Right.
If you had the freedom, you could, do whatever you want, make a difference in the world, or, but whatever you do, you have consequences to it.
Yeah.
And that is something that I've understood in my life.
Yes, exactly. Journey.
My life, I've lived in 3 different countries, and where I am, I try to make a difference of myself, and make a difference around the world, and meet people, and make a difference in their lives. That is my journey so far. So,
yes. Beliefs or belief?
Belief. I believe in the higher power that I was talking about, and it's played a huge role in my life.
Yeah.
So I feel that is
good. And happiness.
Oh, happiness is sitting on a dinner table with my family and eating some good food.
I love that.
That is happiness for me.
Yeah.
Makes me happy.
Makes you happy.
Really happy.
Yeah. You heard it here on Marcel Mindset TV. We got Michael Jason on the show, photographer, up and coming, published, and he's doing big things out here. So for our audience that need to get in your DM immediately to get a photo shoot done, how can they reach you?
All right, so I do have a page on Instagram named outoffocus 1111, and it has a beautiful face of mine. And I do have another page which is called M&H Photography. So that's my business that I'm trying to build with a buddy of mine. Or even you can reach out to Marcel. He's the best person to reach out to.
Right.
Or leave it down in the comments, and I'll ping you. Not a problem.
Love it.
Yeah.
So again, I want to thank you, Michael Jason, for coming on the show. You added so much value, and I really hope that someone out there gets inspired by your story and they begin to start on their photography journey 100%. Or their journey on whatever it is for them.
100%.
I appreciate you, Michael.
Thank you, man.
Marcel Mindset TV.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Thank
what do
you,
you want to say? I know you want to.
I really want to say something. I kind of forgot, but if anyone wants help, I'm always ready to help. You want to learn photography, hit me up, right? Like, doesn't matter what it is. Like, you want to create content, you want ideas, you want to learn how to use long exposure in photography or shutter speed, ISO. Always reach out. Always ready to help. Or nothing. It's not about money all the time. It's about sharing what you learned.
Right.
So that's all about it.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good man right there. Reach out to Michael because he's going to help you on your own personal photography journal. So again, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button below, comment on the video, and share this to someone 100%. That you think it can help them grow.
Thank you, man.
Again,
Thank you.
Michael Jason on the show.
Peace.